velocity here, since you know that velocity is the rate of change in displacement with time, that is to say, in that case, velocity, to find the velocity, it simply means that displacement over what? Time. Displacement over time. Then displacement over time, what we have here, we have our displacement. Displacement is equal to 300 meter, and then we have our time. Time is what? 30 seconds. So what we do next, it means that velocity will then be 300 over 30. That will give us, what we have here will be, I think it should be 10 meter per second. 10 meter per second. The second one here say that if the velocity of the body is 300 meter per second, 200 meter per second, today we'll be looking at velocity and acceleration. That's what we'll be talking about today. And what is this velocity? What is velocity? Velocity is the rate of change of displacement with time. That means velocity tells us something, the rate at which the velocity is changing with what? Time. And one thing I want you to pay attention to now is that velocity and speed, they are not the same. Velocity is a vector quantity while speed is a scalar quantity. What do I mean by that? Velocity has magnitude, that means has size and what? Direction, while speed has only size. That is one of the things you should note about it. That's why velocity always deals with displacement, that is the distance at a specific direction, or at a specific point. That is why that is major difference between what? Velocity and what? Speed. Now we can have uniform velocity. In uniform velocity is when the rate of change of displacement with time is constant. When it's constant, we say what? Uniform velocity. Another one we're going to be talking about is acceleration. But before that, I want us to know that when velocity is not constant, I mean when it's variable, when your velocity is variable, we say is what? When it's variable like that, we say that the rate of change in displacement, the rate of change of displacement with time is what? Not constant. It's not what? Constant. When it's not constant, we say is what? Variable. Now acceleration. Acceleration is the rate of change of velocity with time. Acceleration can also be uniform. That is when the rate of change of velocity with time is constant, and it can also be variable. When it's variable, that means the rate of change of velocity with time is what? Not constant. I want you to pay attention to that. That's one of the basic things you need to know about this. And now, before we go ahead, I want us to look at some calculations that can help us as in how to handle some of the calculations in this very topic. That is what we're going to be doing. Now, our first question says the car travels 300 meters in a constant direction for 30 seconds. Calculate its velocity. And the second one said if the velocity of a body is 300 meters per second, find its acceleration after 10 seconds. So, starting from the first one, since you know that acceleration, we're calculating velocity here. Since you know that velocity is the rate of change in displacement with time, that is to say, in that case, velocity, to find the velocity, it simply means that displacement over what? Time. Displacement over time. Then displacement over time, what we have here, we have our displacement. Displacement is equal to 300 meter, and then we have our time. Time is what? 30 seconds. So what we do next, it means that velocity will then be 300 over 30. That will give us, what we have here will be, I think it should be 10 meter per second. 10 meter per second. The second one here say that if the velocity of the body is 300 meter per second, 200 meter per second, calculate its acceleration, and we know that acceleration is the rate of change of velocity with time. If it's rate of change of velocity with time, acceleration can then be velocity over what? Time. Velocity over time. If it's velocity over time, that means our velocity is what? Our v is what? 300. Our time is what? 10 seconds. That is to say 300 over what? Time for our acceleration now. Then we have 30 meter per second square. Remember, the unit is meter per second. Meter per second square is for acceleration, and meter per second is for velocity. Now, this is where we're going to end the class today. In our next video, we'll be talking about velocity time graph and distance time graph. Thank you so much for coming this far. If you are joining for the first time, we encourage you to subscribe. Like, and share so that the video can get to people that will need it so much. Thank you once again, and bye.